Hello and welcome back to the Venoni Motors podcast. Today we're doing a roundtable about all sports with Gabriel, Anthony, Katie, and Pat. What's
going on, Marco?
Hi.
Hi.
Hey, good to be here.
What about her?
Yeah.
Well, I thought we'd start off with some Warriors talk. Do you hear Cousins got arrested? And
When was that?
pretty recently.
Like Friday.
I mean, he's not with the Warriors anymore, so I guess that kind of, I don't know. His name doesn't really associate with us.
Now it's with the Lakers.
Yeah.
And
He was out.
Yeah, but it still speaks to a bigger problem in professional sports with these guys that are all amped up and then are, where there's smoke, there's got to be a little fire. Where there's, if these domestic abuse cases keep popping up, it's a serious problem, don't you think?
Yeah, it's a serious problem. Football has been a problem for a little while.
So he was arrested, but he's not playing in the football league anymore?
He's a basketball player.
Oh, he's a basketball player and he's not playing anymore because he was just arrested?
Yeah.
Well, he was injured too.
And
He
was
tore his
injured.
ACL.
Well, maybe the industry can make a statement against his behavior.
Yeah. That's another thing. DeMarcus Cousins, with all the injuries, is it really worth it to pay him?
When he's not even making that much. He's only making like $5 million for 1 year.
That's a lot. I'll take that.
So did you keep him with all of his injuries? Well, it depends who else is available.
Yeah, he didn't really produce for the Warriors, so at least I thought.
You got to think Boogie's only going to get heavier because he's not going to be able to move around. You can tell how heavy he was even at the end going into the playoffs after he was out for a few weeks with the Warriors.
Yeah, he was. As he's older, his mobility is going to go down. So what's really going to help is, he doesn't have much left with the big man. There's not much time you got.
I hope he surprises us, but it's not a pretty picture right now.
Another thing with all the strength and the Clippers and the Lakers, to be interesting in LA.
And as I'm looking at his stats, he scores 16.3 points a game, it seems like. And he has 8.2 rebounds, and that was from this last year on Golden State. So,
How many games?
He played 30 games. So
Should he be doing better?
yeah, and then again, 30 games, it's not that much because they play a lot. They play
82 games.
82 games. That's
still
that's
a lot
not
of points, though.
Yeah.
Wouldn't want to lose that.
Yeah, but then again, injuries. So it could I
I'd
don't know.
come back after his ACL injury. You don't know how many points he'll score, less or more.
Yeah, it's a lot of big players like KD went down, Clay, and Cousins. It wasn't even in the regular season, so I've got to say something about. Is there something better these guys should be doing? Yeah.
Should they be trained to try to contribute in a better way?
Okay.
I'm asking.
Yeah, I guess so. The wear and tear that they put these guys on, and the whole thing about the off days, load management days. That's
Load management. Do you think load management's coming back for this season?
oh yeah, that's gonna be infiltrating all sports now.
Okay.
What do you guys think of the Giants?
This rebuild, they suck.
Yeah, they really need a lot of new players, and with Farhan coming in, Farhan Zaidi. Yeah, what do you think they need to work on?
They should rebuild their farm system. They should maybe sell. I don't know, get maybe trade some of their veterans for new prospects, because that's what most teams are doing these days. Because Atlanta, they kind of rebuilt their team, and mainly all their young players now came from farm leagues, and it's kind of part of just building a new team.
You think the days of paying for a hotshot player are over?
Yeah, With,
Yeah, like I'm glad they didn't get Harper. You know, that would have been a big albatross for the Giants organization. You know, he was just that type of a contract, and that's not what they need. They need young players that are hungry for a title. Because that's what they need.
Several, more than one or two.
Yeah, I mean, that's what our guys who won in 10, 12, and 14 were like. They were hungry. They're not so hungry now. You know, they might argue differently, but I think there's, you know, after you win 3 times, you're a little tired and you've done it. I think it just naturally happens that it's really hard to sustain that level of play.
They also might need somebody who's more of a leader and wants to jump in and be a big motivator of spirit and that kind of
Among
thing.
the younger players, maybe.
They need someone who has a lot of experience and who can kind of lead them through and be a big name. They need someone like they need outfielders.
Someone to fire him up.
They haven't had a good outfielder since Barry Bonds that can hit home runs and is good defensively. So they need.
That'd be good.
Is there anybody on this team now they should keep and kind of work with? Maybe a veteran who can. You probably be good to have a couple of veterans on the team.
I would keep Bumgarner.
Yeah. What about then trading him? I mean, how much is he worth compared to how much he's going to be worth down the road? Is it worth trading him right now? So that's a big question for Farhan, because they did let him go beyond the trade deadline. Is that going to help or hurt the Giants? I mean, is he going to resign? Big questions. Big questions facing the Giants.
To go back to your question, I think I'd keep Pilar. He's a baller. He, at least for, another season or two to see, but he's come in and he has always played with some fire under him. And he's not that old yet. And so I'd, unless they obviously have somebody who's better, he's very solid in the outfield, and he's always a good at bat.
Yeah.
If he's not juicing.
Well, that's a whole nother conversation, Anthony.
Yeah. I mean, we saw his a cat. We were at a game the other day and saw a nice catch of him. He's pretty good defensively. I think he's brought a lot of hope to the Giants that hopefully could carry them through the next years, which are going to be very tough.
He's a free agent.
Does
Yeah.
Panic still play for the Giants?
No, he was traded.
Good to know.
He was actually not traded. He was released.
Good to know, Anthony. Yeah.
And that was weird that they released Jeanette. Like, I'm not sure what happened. I need to go back and read newspapers or something, because they pick up Jeanette. It seemed like he was the next guy in. That's the reason why they let Panic go. And then all of a sudden they're letting Jeanette go. So kind of curious.
Yeah, well, they were kind of quick to pull the trigger there. I heard he was doing okay. So, and who do they have now?
Nobody.
Is this the new Dujon or whatever his name is, who's coming up from the minors?
No.
From AAA?
He's the guy that's supposed to have all the spunk and spirit. So, yeah, and because they do need some more pitchers. They need 3 or 4 more strong pitchers, right?
We're getting Cueto back at the end of the year.
But Cueto's pretty old now. He's past his prime, I would say.
Everyone's past their prime on the Giants.
Yeah,
So what's your point?
that's another problem with the Giants is they're kind of holding on to players a lot. So
I mean, they can't do anything with players. They have players with no trade clauses.
yeah, that's what Bumgarner. He had a lot of restricting things with no trade clauses.
Is Posey like that too?
Yeah, players like that. Crawford's like that. Everybody.
Yeah, that makes it tough to trade for them. So, but they really need to find some young prospects. Their farm system is long and depleted, and
We just got some through the trade deadline.
yeah, we're seeing at least a little production, I think.
Yeah, who's that? The guy in Sacramento right now that everyone's excited about?
Jay, something with a J. Yeah.
Do my homework.
He's been hitting a lot of home runs.
Yeah.
Mike Gerber.
And then there's another guy who's
Mike Gerber.
who's there the Giants are excited about in San Jose, or no, in Sacramento.
It's Alvacito.
So yeah.
It's Alvacito.
Well, what do you guys think of the A's? I mean,
Better than Giants. I mean, they have younger people, I guess, but actually, they're kind of the same. Because like I was looking at their roster, the age difference is not that much, to be honest. Like they have the same range.
yeah, I mean, they have a lot of players in around 30, maybe 28, 25, or not 25, but
Alvacito.
between 25 and 30. And do you think you guys there right now? As far as I know, they are in the wild card lead, at least right now when we're recording this. So, do you think they're going to be able to make it? I mean, Tampa Bay is right there. Boston's like 5 games back. So are the A's going to make it again to the wild card game? And
Lose to the Yankees again.
well,
Probably.
they would play the I think the Indians are in the wild card spot right now. Yankees are just too good.
Yeah, I think the A's will. Boston. That's a long ways to. That's a lot of road to make up this deep into the season. The A's are gonna. Yeah, they'll get in, but then big question mark as to whether they can get through that first game. If they do, obviously, then it's just all the momentum obviously builds. But they have a good manager.
Yeah, they have all the right pieces, but they lately they just haven't been able to do anything in the playoffs. So, they definitely need some more stuff.
Milk.
Yeah. What about and football season starting up soon? With the Niners, they got Jared McKinnon and Jimmy G.
McKinnon's injured.
Yeah. What did he injure again?
I think his wrist.
Yeah. And Bosa, he was injured.
He's a bust.
Really? The number 2 all pick.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think?
What does it mean when somebody's a bust?
It means they get injured or they really don't improve.
And how long has he been on the 49ers?
Less than a year.
He was drafted by them. Yeah.
Can't say he's a bust this early.
I mean, he was injured a lot. He's injury prone.
Injury prone. Okay.
He was injured in college last year, most of last year.
I wanted to pick him up with the second pick.
Yeah, who would have you picked up?
DJ Moncrief.
Yeah.
Where did he
And
go?
Seattle.
Seattle? Okay.
what do you guys think of Jimmy G? Do you think he's really going to be able to show this year? And it's a big proving year for him this year.
No, he's going to get injured again.
Still has to put together that season where we can say this guy's for real. Still haven't see little bits and pieces. He shines, then he has gets injured, or he has all of a sudden he gets benched again. So still wait and see with Jimmy G.
He's going to get injured because all quarterbacks get injured.
Yeah, but and also if he gets injured, would you go with C.J. Beathard or Nick?
Well, you have to.
Who?
You have to pick Nick Mullins or C.J. Beathard.
Yeah, which one did you go through with, Anthony?
Mullins.
Is he just? I guess he's better. He doesn't. He did win 5 games?
Yeah.
No, 4 games. This last late season. So, yeah. And another big question mark in the Bay Area is the Raiders. With Derek Carr a proving year, it's fun. It's been fun to have Hard Knocks there.
Seems like they've had a lot of momentum this preseason. Had a good preseason, so it's gives them an exciting start.
They
Yeah,
have some really good linebackers.
their defense got better with Abram at safety.
Jonathan Abram.
Yeah, and then they did get, of course, they got AB.
But he's injured.
How?
Huh?
He'll be able to ready to play for the regular season though. So
But I gotta say, like, when the heck are they gonna move? I feel like every season I hear, okay, this is last season, and then all of a sudden they're back in Oakland again.
yeah,
They're not moving.
No, they're going to
Is
Vegas, right?
this supposed to be the last season?
The stadium's supposed to be ready next year.
Okay, we'll see.
yeah. It's a shame that they're leaving Oakland. They had a good crowd there.
Mm-hmm.
But what they really
Big
should
fans.
have done is put the Chargers in Vegas and the Raiders in L.A. because the Raiders have a fan base down in L.A. and they're building a nice stadium down there.
Well, where would the Rams go? They stayed in St. Louis?
No, well, the I believe
Rams and the Raiders in L.A.?
yeah, I believe the Rams and the Chargers are going to share a stadium.
Yep, yeah.
Yeah. So just switch the Chargers and the Raiders. I think.
I think the Rams and the Raiders will have a better draw in Vegas, or they might be more interested in people who fly in seeing the Raiders.
Yeah, but how would that be any different for the Chargers? I mean, the Chargers don't have any fans in Los Angeles, but the Raiders do, and the Chargers, wherever they're going to move, they don't have any fans, but the Raiders have their history in Los Angeles. So
I think Las Vegas will be more excited about the Raiders being there than they would the Chargers.
I could see that. A little more of a bad.
A little more of a reputation that'll get people interested in going to see the games.
Yeah, good reputation. What do you predict is the Raiders like? What do you think their record's gonna be this year, Gabe?
Kind of middle, I guess.
Like 8-8.
I don't see him doing horrible, but I don't see him doing that great. Like, I just kind of see it like an even year for them.
Yeah. Anthony, what do you think?
They're gonna go 5-6.
What about the rest of the season?
There's 16 games, Anthony.
They're gonna go 8-8.
Yeah. So again, middle of the road, Vito.
Well, I really hope they can get to 10 wins.
Yeah, that would be a big achievement.
Yeah.
That they could get to the playoffs on that. Pat.
I can't really make a call on them. I haven't done my homework on the Raiders, so. But I wouldn't expect too much of them.
I'd say about like 10. I could see 10 wins, 10-6. They're playing their last game in Oakland. Their second to last game of the season.
Here's a question for the table: is Chucky a good coach or not?
Yeah. Do you think John Gruden's gonna be good? I personally think he's right for the role. I think he can turn this team around and make them go to the Super Bowl. What do you guys think?
Super Bowl, I think that's a stretch. I don't know. I think he's gonna have a rough time there. I think the weak link maybe.
The problem with John Gruden is last year he traded Amari Cooper and Khalil Mack when they were vital to the team. So it'd be interesting to see what they would do if they had both of those guys.
Is he working as GM also?
No, they just hired a new GM, Mike Mayock. Yeah. The GM, I believe, was from the last regime last year. So, but John Gruden was basically calling the shots. Yeah. So, thank you for listening.
All right. Thank you. Thanks.
Oh yeah. Bye.